Hey there, it's Fionna Gossling from Murray LePage with an update as to what happened in the Oakville real estate market in October 2025. So, sales were actually pretty good. Prices were down year over year, but number of sales transactions were pretty good, and prices were down a little bit over last month, but up over other months. So, all in all, pretty flat and boring. This graph is showing us the annual average sale price year over year across all property types in Oakville. So you can see for the first time, this 2025 average sale price has dropped below where we were in 2021. And actually, as I say that, I think we had dropped below last month as well. But what that doesn't take into account is that at the end of 2021, we had a real lack of inventory and a lot of pressure on, which was creating pressure on prices. So that the prices really skyrocketed near the end of 2021 and the beginning of 2022 was when the market was going really crazy. And so those figures and average sale prices are factored into this 2021 number. And while I don't anticipate that happening in the next couple of months of 2025, it is probably important to keep that in mind that those really high average sale prices in those months will affect that bar graph. And I would expect to see things stabilize for the rest of 2025 and early 2026 because of this graph. So you can see if you take out this peak here, this is showing the average and the median sale price of properties, all types of properties in Oakville, going back to 2019. So we had kind of moderate, steady growth, and then it really spiked through the end of 21, early 22, and then it corrected. And since then, it has been quite steady, which is kind of what you want in a housing market. A little boring. So in October, we had 249 units sold, which is actually great for the last number of years. 249 transactions is low for what Oakville has been historically, but over the last 3 years, that's quite a respectable number. And as you can see from this, the only 2 months that beat that were May and June in terms of number of transactions, not necessarily price. Of those 249, buyers had lots of choice. There were 1,247 units available for buyers to choose from across all property types, which works out to about 5 months of inventory, which is actually a buyer's market at that point. Of course, that depends on the type of property you're buying, and we'll get to that in a later slide. The average sale price was down a bit over the previous few months to 1.361 for average all property types. And the median sale price also down a little bit over September, down to 1.210. And it's taking about 33 days on average to sell a property. What I find interesting about this is if you look at the median sale price, and so remember, median sale price is if you take all of those 249 transactions that happened and pick the one in the middle, that's your median sale price. And your average is taking all of the 229, adding them up and dividing them by 229 gives us the average. So average can be skewed, but it is how we report things. So worth looking at. But this median sale price has not substantially changed for at all this year. You can see it's all kind of within that range. August was low, but otherwise it's fairly consistent. And same with the end of 2024. So that I think is very interesting. So if you're comparing this October to last October, we had 3% more sales. So that's good. We had 23% more things to choose from, which I do think a big part of that can be attributed to new construction that was maybe sold back in 2020, 2021 has now been completed. And with the change of interest rates and the general economy, maybe some of those investors have decided to sell the property instead of holding them as an investment. So there's just more to choose from. And then our average sale price is down by 9%. And our days on market is taking about 6% longer to sell a property this October versus last October. So again, it's just a longer sales cycle in there. This part is important when we're talking about the average sale price. It's really better to look at the average sale price for the type of property you want to buy. So the average sale price for a detached home is $1,769,000 in Oakville right now. And that is fairly low for a detached home. So if you're selling a detached home right now, you need to be priced well. You need to be prepared well and marketed well, and just watching the market and being consistent with it. There were 134 sales that happened, and 654 properties out there to choose from. So that's 4.9 months of inventory, which is just on the cusp of a buyer's market there, from balanced to buyers. Townhouses, this is still a balanced market. We had 78 sales. Average sale price was $1,064,000. And then condos, we're back up to 7.7 months of inventory. There's 579,000 was the average sale price, which tells me that there was a lot of activity in the lower end of the market. And what that tells me is that first-time home buyers are getting into the market more. And that's backed up by the number of first-time home buyer conversations I've had in the last little bit. So what we're seeing is people who have maybe been sitting on the sidelines and wanting to get into the market have identified this as a great opportunity to get into the market. And I truly could not agree more strongly. I mean, with that many months of inventory in the condo market, if that's something that you've been waiting to get into, I think there's real opportunity right now in that space. So when we look at this, the detached here, with the average sale price and 134 sales, you can see that the number of sales is actually up. So that's good. We've had some movement in that property type. The average sale price is down from August and September, but it's down from July as well, but kind of consistent in there. Remember, when we're looking at averages, some really high-end stuff won't be factored in there. But I do think this is speaking to affordability a little bit. Same with townhouses. So the average price of a townhouse is down from September, but up from July and August. We had more sales in townhouses this month, which is nice to see. And then with condos, we had a few more sales in October. September was pretty low. Average sale price is down, but that just means that what is transacting in condos is transacting at a lower price point, is my suspicion there. So that is what's going on. It is all fairly boring. If we can go back to this graph. And I think the big thing in today's market is identifying opportunities. Also, if you are buying and selling in the same market, it doesn't matter. And I think there have been people who have been sitting on the sidelines waiting for some more clarity or certainty in the real estate market. And I'm not sure when that's going to come. But for people who do want to buy and sell in the same market, it's a good opportunity to do that. And if you're trying to upsize, there's real opportunity there, because if the whole market has come down by 9%, then what you're selling's come down by 9%, and what you've bought has come down by 9%, but the actual dollar value is so much greater there. Any specific questions, don't hesitate to reach out. If you want to talk about real estate, I'm happy to do it. Otherwise, I'll check back in next month.